So today I'm here to change the belief system and the underlying science behind the gemstones in astrology. Whatever I'm going to reveal is going to change the perception with which we were recommending gemstones via astrology. All right. It's called Ratna Shastra. All right. What I'm going to give is a deep research which has taken me years and years of practice and perfection, and also the help from this book and this person. All right. Because without the inputs that were available in this book, which was written by Sri Binoytosh Bhattacharya, and this book was published in the 1980s. All right. It's not available, and I got it in an auction actually. Right. So the evolution of this ideology and concept started when I started seeing that when I'm wearing ruby, I'm getting the effect of the planet sun. All right. But when I'm wearing its substitute, red garnet, I'm actually getting the effect of Mars. All right. And you can ask me how I'm getting to know that I'm getting the effect of Mars or I'm getting the effect of sun. All right. When I wore red garnet, energy levels were high, and also aggression increased, and also when I was driving, a little bit of accident prone things started happening. All right. But whereas when I wore ruby, confidence increased. All right. Vitality increased. Energy, vitality, these are two different things. Okay. And when you're wearing different sort of gemstones, you become sensitive to it. All right. So I did a deep research. All right. I went to the level of chemistry. I thought, what is that thing which is causing a red color ruby to give or activate the planet sun, and a similar gemstones, which is a red garnet, which can be an almadine garnet or a pyrope garnet, right? Red garnet, which looks very similar to ruby. The color is also very similar to ruby. But when I'm wearing it, it is activating Mars. All right. And in my previous videos, I would have told that red garnet is a substitute of ruby. All right. But I was wrong, because red garnet is actually activating Mars fundamentally. All right. So yeah, with time and with experience, you get to learn a lot of things. And I apologize if somebody wore a red garnet thinking that it's a substitute for sun. No, it is working for Mars. All right. And humility lies in acceptance of ignorance. So here we go. All right. All right. So what I found out is that ruby is made up of corundum. All right. The chemical formula for it I've written here. It's Al2O3. Okay. So it's an aluminium oxide, corundum. All right. Now, when I did a research and I took some inputs from the internet as well, I found out that the trace element which is available in aluminium oxide is chromium. All right. And chromium is actually the chemical or the element which is causing the ruby to be red in color. Okay. Whereas in red garnet, chromium is not present, but iron is present. All right. So the red color in red garnet is caused by the presence of the trace element iron. But whereas in the case of ruby, the trace element which is present is chromium. Okay. So what happens is, when you put a UV light on a ruby, all right, a UV light, a light which emits ultraviolet radiations, the chromium inside the ruby starts to radiate and it becomes illuminated. All right. I can show you now also, but it would take some time. So you can do this. You can buy a UV torch or a UV light, and if you have a ruby gemstone, if it's an original ruby and if it has got chromium in it, you can put the light, the UV light over it, and you will see that it is glowing like radioactive, like that kind of glow. Okay. So now you'll be shocked if I told you that yellow sapphire is also Al2O3, aluminum oxide. Blue sapphire is also, the chemical formula is Al2O3, aluminum oxide, and ruby is also Al2O3, which is the corundum family. All right. Now, pure aluminum oxide, which is transparent in color, people call it white sapphire also, but it is very transparent, like diamond. Okay. This pure aluminum oxide is the base material, right? But just imagine, because of the presence of a little bit of trace element in it, in the case of ruby, it is chromium. All right. In the case of yellow sapphire, I've written it down. It's iron. The same trace element which is also found in red garnet, which works for Mars. Okay. So the trace element iron is present in yellow sapphire. All right. And because of this iron, the trace element, the yellow sapphire appears to be yellow in color because of the impurity. This iron is an impurity which is in the crystal structure of the aluminum oxide, and that's why it is appearing to be yellow, and it is working for Jupiter. Okay. Now, if you come to blue sapphire, it is also corundum family, it is also aluminum oxide, but the trace element present here is a mix of iron and titanium both. Okay. The more the amount of iron and titanium is present in the blue sapphire, in the aluminum oxide, in the crystal, the more it will appear to be blue in color. Light blue sapphire is there, which is called Indraneel, and peacock blue sapphire is there, which is called Mayur Neel. All right. So the more the presence of iron and titanium in the corundum, that aluminum oxide, the more it is gonna appear blue in color. The shade of blue is going to increase. The more you have iron alone in yellow sapphire, the more it is going to appear maybe light yellow, less iron presence, dark yellow, more iron presence, right? So the shade of the yellow sapphire varies: light yellow, lemon yellow, dark yellow, golden color. Different shades are there depending on the impurities and the crystal structure. All right. Now, in the same way, if you look at this table, all right, I've listed down, the sun is represented by the Navaratna ruby, which is nothing but corundum family, which is aluminum oxide. And the trace element present in this corundum is chromium. And because of chromium, it is working or giving the results of the sun. And what happens when you look at the sun? It is irradiating, it is illuminating, all right? It is bright in color. So when you're putting an ultraviolet radiation over the ruby, it is also getting illuminated. Okay. So now, if you want any uparatna or substitute for ruby, you have to make sure that it is red in color, and the primary trace element, the chemical that's present in it contributing to the red color of the ruby or the substitute which you're about to wear, it has to be chromium. Okay, so you will see that alexandrite, which is a color changing gemstone, it also has chromium in it. That's why it appears to be green also and ruby red also. So they say it is a ruby during the day and an emerald during the night, alexandrite. All right. So chromium has to be there for the gemstone to work for sun. Can you believe that? All right. Now, there is another version of ruby. It is not ruby, it is pink sapphire. When the level of chromium is very less, so it appears to be pinkish in color, pale pink in color, like rose quartz, or a little brighter than that. Okay. Now, pink sapphire will also give you results for the sun. All right. But the difference is that in the case of pink sapphire, it is a sun moon or a sun Venus connection. Are you getting what I'm saying? Because some other planetary energy is there in it, because of which it is becoming lighter in color. It is not as red, raw and pure, the Pigeon blood ruby color. It's not that. Now there is a presence of Venus in it, or maybe moon in it. All right. Now remember, any gemstone which is very transparent, which is very crystal clear, naturally has Venus presence in it. Even though I'm wearing a red garnet, okay, this red garnet is absolutely pure. There is no translucency. It's not translucent. It's transparent. It's vitreous. It's lustrous. All right. So this red garnet will not only give me Mars result, but it is also going to give me Venus results. I won it. Whenever you wear a diamond, you become cleanliness savvy. You want to clean everything. You want absolute purity and around you. Similarly, when I'm wearing this red garnet, it increases my energy level also. It increases Mars also. It helps me with my health and energy, but it also makes me cleanliness oriented. So I thought that, of course, the clearer the gemstone is, the more purity and the presence of Venus is there in it. So a blue sapphire, which is very milky, translucent kind of it with impurities in it, means there is Saturn presence in it, but there is no purity or there is no clarity or luster in it. So Venus is not there in it. All right. So you'll see the cheap gemstones, which are translucent or opaque, and light doesn't pass through it clearly. So that's not costly also, because Venus is value. Venus increases the purity and the value. And of course, it's not going to give you great results. Okay. You can wear it. I'm also wearing a ruby crystal. So it gives result, but not to that level. All right. Now you see the sun, aluminum oxide, that is ruby, corundum. The chemical formula is Al2O3. Blue sapphire is also corundum, Al2O3. Pink sapphire is also corundum, Al2O3. Yellow sapphire is also corundum, Al2O3. But what is making it work for Jupiter or Saturn or Sun is the presence of the trace element. So if there is no trace element, the element which I'm mentioning to you, then it will not give you the results of the planet. It can give you some other result. It can help you with color therapy, but it's not going to give you absolute, pure, unadulterated gemstone vibes. So yellow sapphire here has to have Fe3 plus iron impurities as trace element in it to absorb the violet or blue wavelength and reflect the yellow wavelength. I'll come to the wavelength also. It is also going to help you. Similarly, blue sapphire has to have a mixture of iron or titanium, or both iron and titanium. All right. And what it will do is it will absorb the yellow or the red wavelength inside, and it is going to reflect the blue wavelength. That's why the blue sapphire appears to be blue in color when we look at it. Okay. Now, a beautiful thing is that whenever there is an iron deficiency, your blood becomes reduced and you become anemic, right? So red garnet connects with Mars, and red garnet is red because of the presence of trace element iron in it, not chromium like the case of ruby. So what happens? You're wearing red garnet, it's gonna help with your iron levels in the body, and that is gonna make your blood more red, more hemoglobin prone, and it's gonna work efficiently. All right. So where does Mars gets exalted? It gets exalted in Capricorn, Saturnian energy, right? What is Saturn? Iron. So Mars can only work best when there is iron present in it. All right. And red coral, the gemstone, I'm talking about red garnet now, but red coral gemstone also has magnesium also in it. All right. Magnesium is also a very important element which can connect with Mars, because magnesium is also very important for relaxation, muscle relaxation and energy, which is also Mars characteristics. All right. Now let's come to pearl. Okay. Now pearl and coral, the base element is same, calcium carbonate, right? But pearl appears to be white in color, silvery, golden or pink in color, whereas red coral appears to be red, blood red in color. All right. So pearl, it is appearing to be silver or white or golden or pinkish silver color, because it has got calcium carbonate, but it has also got some protein and water in it. That is why it is appearing in that way, because water is moon, right? It connects with moon, is the source of water. Venus is pure water. That is the one which you're getting from your purifier or filter, or you're going to an airport and you're buying costly water which is like 400, 500 rupees a liter. That's Venus. But river water, salty water that you're getting raw, that is moon. All right. The next thing is coral is also calcium carbonate, but coral has organic matter and it has small traces of magnesium in it, all right? And the red color of the coral is there because of the presence of carotenoid pigments, okay? Carotenoid. What it does is it absorbs the blue color and the green wavelength and it reflects the red wavelength, all right? Now Saturn and Mars are opposite to each other. Mars gets exalted in Capricorn, whereas Saturn gets debilitated in Aries, right? The moon tricone of Mars. And Mars is speed, Saturn is reduction of speed or slow things, right? Mars is something like the deer, which is trying to run fast, or the ram. And Saturn is like the tortoise, or it is like the the snail, which moves very slowly and it has got a shell around it, all right? So that's Saturn, right? The difference is, if you look at Mars is absorbing the blue and green, that is the Saturn and Mercury energy inside it, and it is giving out the red color, the Mars. It is reflecting the red color or the Mars energy. Whereas what blue sapphire is doing is, it is absorbing the yellow and red, that is the Jupiterian and Martian vibes inside it, and it is giving out blue color, which is Saturn's color, right? The next thing is that if you go to Mercury, the Mercury is represented by the Navratan called emerald, all right? And emerald is belonging to beryl family, and the chemical formula of beryl is Be3Al2SiO3 6. Okay. Now you know why the emerald is appearing to be green in color? Because of the presence of the trace element chromium and vanadium, written here Cr3 plus and vanadium V3 plus. So if there is no chromium and vanadium present in the beryl will appear also to be transparent, white, okay? That's the base material, beryl, okay? Even cat's eye is made up of beryl, chrysoberyl, they say, all right? But because there is chromium and vanadium, can be only chromium, then also it can appear to be green, can be vanadium, it can appear to be green, or it can be a mix of chromium and vanadium. And because of that, the emerald is very, very, perfect, lustrous green in color, like the color of the banana leaf, okay? Or the color of the paddy field, which is just sprouted, something like that. Young, fresh color, because anything which is young is Mercury. Mercury is represented by a young guy, all right? So if there is no chromium and vanadium in the gemstone, it is not going to work for Mercury, all right? Even if your emerald is very light or pale green color, that means the presence of the trace element chromium and vanadium is less in it, so it is not powerful. But even if your emerald is small in size, let's say 1 or 2 carat, but is absolutely perfect green, transparent, lustrous, and things like that, then chromium and vanadium is perfectly present in it, and it will give you good results for Mercury. Subject to Mercury has to be a good planet in your horoscope. If it is a bad planet in your horoscope, then also this will give you a very strong result of Mercury, which will cause negative things to happen in your life. Okay. Similarly, I've explained about yellow sapphire, blue sapphire, and ruby. Now we are going to diamond. Okay. Have you heard of carbon? Isotopes of carbon, graphite, coal, and diamond. All right. We study in our school. All right. And thanks to my engineering background, I'm able to process this very quickly. So diamond is colorless in its purest form, and it is made up of only carbon. All right. The more the diamond is colorless and pure, the more it is going to work good for Venus. The more you have trace elements like, let's say, boron or nitrogen, right, or some other thing, then it can become yellowish, it can become brown, it can become red, it can become some other color, God knows. But if there is no impurity and it is transparent, all right, and it is lustrous and it is allowing light to pass through it, and it is dispersing or scattering the light, like the diamond, when you put at it, you see the rainbow color inside, right? So if there is no impurity in the diamond and it is very pure form of carbon, then it's going to work for Venus. When there is an impurity, whichever color it is going towards, that means it has some other planetary influence in it. For example, a yellow diamond can work for a Jupiter-Venus conjunction, all right, because the yellow color is there. So there is some impurity in it which is causing it to absorb certain wavelength and reflect the yellow light, which is a Jupiter color. When we look at the Jupiter gemstone yellow sapphire, like this one, so it is reflecting yellow color, okay. If you look at this ruby, this is pinkish in color because I have a Sun-Venus connection, so light pink color ruby is good for me, okay. Then we are coming to Rahu and Ketu, okay. Now Rahu and Ketu, it's very difficult to understand them because they are Chaya Graha, which means they are mysterious, they are Maya, they are illusionary, all right, because they don't have a said physical form, so it's very difficult to trace them. But thanks to science, Hasonite garnet connects with Rahu, all right. There's a gemstone of Rahu, it's called Gomed also, and the chemical formula is Ca3Al2SiO4 3. All right. So you know why the Hasonite garnet appears to be honey colored or cinnamon color, all right, or yellow. They say Gaumutra Gomed, that is yellow like a cow urine color Gomed, all right, because it has got the presence of iron and magnesium in it. Okay. Now look at a beautiful synergy. Mars is the Senapati, that is the commander-in-chief of the army of the Devatas. Okay. And Rahu is the commander-in-chief of the army of the Asura. If you have a bad Mars in your horoscope, but Rahu is well placed, you can amplify Rahu and overcome the deficiencies of Mars. Let's say Mars is debilitated or aspected by Shani or some other malefic, all right? Similarly, if Rahu is not favorable in your horoscope and if Mars is well placed, then you can give power to Mars, which is the Deva Senapati, and it will make you energetic, okay? Rahu, gemstone Hasonite, also gives you energy, also give you courage. Mars is also known for courage and, you know, dominating, aggression, ambition, right? Rahu is also wanting to break boundaries, and Mars also goes to enemy territory and does surgical strike. Mars gets debilitated in Cancer in the sign of the Moon, which is the friend of Mars. Mars doesn't like comforts. Mars wants hard work. He wants to go to Capricorn, which is a Saturn, which is an enemy, and he wants to go and cross the border, and he wants to go there and do the surgical strike, become victorious and come back, like Operation Sindoor or, you know, Balakot or something. Now, this Hasonite garnet, which is Ca3Al2SiO3, it has the presence of iron. Iron connects with a little bit with Saturn, and magnesium, okay, which connects a little bit with Mars, okay. So it has got a little bit of Saturnian vibes also, and slight vibe of Mangal also, the Hasonite, okay. So what it does is it absorbs the blue and the violet spectrum, the wavelength, and it reflects the energy of Rahu, okay. And in the same way, Ketu is chrysoberyl cat's eye. It is BeAl2O4, chrysoberyl cat's eye, the formula. And cat's eye appears to be greenish in color or yellowish greenish in color because of the presence of iron in it. And it absorbs the blue and the violet color, and it reflects the green or the yellowish green color, okay. So this trace element, iron in beryl, and iron and magnesium in Hasonite garnet, and iron and titanium in blue sapphire. Similarly, carbon in diamond, iron in yellow sapphire, chromium in mercury, vanadium in mercury, and then organic matter and trace magnesium and calcium carbonate in red coral, along with carotenoid, which is causing it to be red in color and working for Mars. And similarly, for Moon, calcium carbonate, protein and water, and trace element chromium in Sun, okay. Now, if you see, the pearl can also reflect blue color, that is the pearl can absorb the blue color and the ultraviolet spectrum, okay, and it can reflect the golden color or the pink color. Are you getting what I'm saying? So they say Rahu eclipses the Moon and the Sun, and Saturn creates wish yoke to the Moon. So the moon is absorbing the Saturn and Rahu vibes inside it. Ultraviolet is Rahu and iron is Saturn, and is trying to give you the pure moon vibes. Okay. So if you're choosing a substitute or a upratna for your Navaratna, make sure that you're having this similar impurity which the main gemstone has. For example, red garnet, the red is being contributed by iron impurities, so it is working for Mars. Similarly, carnelian, the red is being contributed by iron impurities, that's why it is red in color. But in the case of let's say some other gemstone which is red in color because of the presence of either chromium, then it's going to work for Sun as a substitute. It's not going to work for Mars. Okay, so this is very important fundamentals which you need to absorb. And when you will look at the gemstone with a prism, okay, you will see that the Sun absorbs the red color in the Vibgyor, the rainbow, and that's why the Sun connects with the red color. But the moon absorbs the orange color wavelength, and when you're looking at it with a prism, it will appear to be orange in color. So even if you put a torch light over a pearl, you will see that orange color is coming out because that is the color of moon. Okay, and similarly for red coral, the cosmic color is yellow. Are you getting what I'm saying? And similarly for Mercury, it's green. Jupiter, it's blue. Venus absorbs the indigo color. Saturn absorbs and reflects the violet color. Rahu works for the ultraviolet, and Ketu works for infrared. Okay, so this is what I wanted to convey. Make sure that these trace elements are present in your gemstone before you're wearing them. I love you all. Take care of yourself. Take care of the elderly people and the stray animals. This is Purab signing off from Purab's Universe. Adios. Jai Hind. Jai Bharat. Vande Mataram.